Hello and welcome to the program. It's the Desk on Global Television. Time for us to look at issues from all-round perspective, from the global scene and to the national and subnational levels. On today's edition, it promises to be exciting as we look at very topical issues. From the national anthem use, where the NOA says Nigerians must seek permission. That's what the federal government of Nigeria has called on Nigerians to seek formal approval before using the national anthem to avoid a potential misuse or misinterpretation. In a statement issued Wednesday by the Director General of the National Orientation Agency, Larry Issa Anilu. So we'll be looking at what that means for the citizens of this great country. We'll also be putting our searchlight on all the talking issues. We'll be taking you to Plateau State, where Governor Mufwang assures of a council post that will be credible. As we talk to you, elections are going on in the local government areas in Plateau State. Hopefully, we'll be talking to the former Speaker of the Plateau State House of Assembly and one of the candidates in the elections. Also, we'll be taking our searchlight to other very interesting talking point as we look at age falsification. Our civil servants have been fingered as the culprit, good at doctoring court affidavits and the MPC certificates. That's what the Abia State government has reviewed, that it has observed the activity of some civil and public servants who are engaging in age falsification with court affidavit. The Abia State Head of Service, Mrs. Ngozi Obioma, said this in a statement on Thursday, and so we'll be looking at what this means, the implication for the civil service. We would not complete our talking point without taking it to Rivers, where violence holds sway, and it's a big talking point as Rivers State Governor Sim Fubara has inaugurated a 7-man judicial commission of inquiries to investigate the arson, killings, and destruction of property at the various local government council headquarters in the state. This was contained in a statement issued by the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Nelson Chukwudi. And so we'll be looking at clearly how impartial this judicial panel would be, commission would be in its investigation and final coming out with a report. We'll also be taking it to Attorney General of the Federation of Nigeria, which says Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice in the person of Justice, judicial system can play a proactive role in addressing the country's recent economic challenges. He was speaking during the opening of the legal year 2024-2025 of the National Industrial Court in Abuja. Fagbemi said the court can impart some of the economic challenges being faced by Nigerians, like the high unemployment rate, rising inflation, and declining revenue, by ensuring timely, efficient, and resolution of industrial dispute. So we'll be looking at how true those words are, and we'll also be taking you to a very interesting political scene where the Labour Party is at it again, as the national chairman of the Labour Party, Julius Abure, has offered forgiveness to those who undermined his leadership following Tuesday's Federal High Court affirmation of his position as the chairman. Justice Emeka Nwite of the Federal High Court delivered the ruling that confirmed Abure's leadership, upholding the legitimacy of the March 2024 Nnewi Convention, elected the current national executive of the Labour Party. So we'll be looking at clearly what this is going to mean for the Labour Party and all the different factions holding sway in that party. All right, I'll be having a live guest in the studio. His name is Olugbenga George, who is a diplomatic aide and also a journalist, will be joining me in live studio, while we also try to link up with Plateau State to get the update as regards the local government elections taking place in the home of peace and tourism. We'll go for a quick break. When we return from this break, discussion continues. Stay with us. Is the Desk on Global Television.
Nigeria. Come join Anthony Momodu on television's most compelling and facts-finding talk live show.
We are the Palestinians.
Can we not
we
say
are the
that again?
Canaan because
That this country gets it right.
who are these bandits?
It's the Dex on Global Television, where we analyze and dissect storming issues and commentaries in the world's biggest black nation, Nigeria.
Who is being held accountable for this money?
The eyes have it.
We stay and decide policies and reforms on the Dex. Tune in Mondays to Fridays, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Global Television. Let's stay on the Dex.
is the desk on Global Television.
Nigeria. Come join Anthony Mamadou on television's most compelling and facts-finding talk live show.
We are the
Can we
Palestinians.
not
We
say
are the
that
Canaan
again?
because
That this country gets it right.
who are these bandits?
It's the Dex on Global Television, where we analyze and dissect storming issues and commentaries in the world's biggest black nation, Nigeria.
Who is being held accountable for this money?
The eyes have it.
We stay and decide policies and reforms on the Dex. Tune in Mondays to Fridays, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Global Television. Let's stay.
All right, welcome back from that break. We're still trying to establish contact with Plateau State, so that we will be on with Right Honorable Stephanos Mansart, former Speaker of the House of Assembly of Plateau State, to get an update as regards how the local government elections are going in Plateau State. And hopefully we'll also be talking to John Mandong, one of the candidates of one of the political parties contesting for the Jos South local government area. Just while we're waiting there, hopefully we'll also be joined in the live studio by Olugbenga George, who is a current affairs analyst, a diplomatic aide, who will also be helping us look at some of this interesting talking points we'll be looking at in today's edition as we seek to understand what the federal government is driving at as they call the Nigerians to seek a formal approval before the using of the national anthem to avoid potential misuse and misinterpretation of the national anthem. And the big question is, how did we get here that citizens of the country would not be able to interpret or understand the national anthem? Does it beg the question that it was a wrong move to, first of all, try to change the national anthem from what we were used to, what was inspiring, to something that seemed to have fitted the old guard. All right, I'll be looking at the consequences of that, and if this is the right way to go, and if it's just the National Orientation Agency playing to the gallery just to make a statement that there's a new sheriff in town. So we'll be looking at the different dimensions to that particular move by the federal government. Also, we know, just to inform you, that the anthem, originally written by Lillian Jean Williams and composed by Frances Bather in 1959, was dropped by a military government in 1978, but has now been restored. So we'll be looking at that closely. And also, like I said, the Plateau State Governor, Barrister Caleb Mutfwang, has reiterated his administration's dedication to ensuring a free, fair, and peaceful local government elections. And that's hopefully we'll be getting some update as regards if that's pledge by the governor is being followed through, and if that's what we're achieving as elections are ongoing right now in Plateau State. And also we'll be looking at Kili, what's playing out from Abia State, where the government has fingered the public servant for the act of doctoring certificate and court affidavit. And it's a very disturbing occurrence because the court affidavit is supposed to be something legally binding, something of should be of honor and esteem, show that that certificate is original and real. But the fact that public servants have that means of changing the system is very, very worrisome. All right, let's just go for another quick break and see if we can re-establish our contacts with Plateau State to give us updates as regards what's playing out in Plateau State. All right, welcome back from the break. We're still watching the desk on Global Television. Let's, while we try to reconnect with John Mandock, one of the candidates in the elections going on in Plateau State. I've got in the live studios Olubenga George, who is a diplomatic aide and a journalist. Olubenga, nice to have you back into the studios.
Thank you. It's great to be here again.
All right, let's quickly look at elections going on in Plateau State. The government has assured of a free, fair and credible elections, but we've seen in other states where it's like a clean sweep for every ruling party in that state. That goes to say, could we adjudge that as being free, fair and credible?
Well, you know, the context of free, fair and credible in the political parlance is when the party, the incumbent, is actually winning. That's when the election can be judged free, fair and credible in Nigeria. Because, like you mentioned, when you go to every other elections that we've had, both at the local government and at the state level, what you see is a dominance of the incumbent, and the oppositions are always complainants at the end of the exercise. Plateau is no different, and what we've seen, like, the most recent being River State, and marred by violence and other very heinous acts, you would see that it is still a dominance of the incumbent. Is the governor resting his will over the state. And, you know, that continues to bring question to what we call democracy. Is it actually democracy? That's the question that I've been asking, and I want to find answers to it, because all the political actors, you know, keep on acting as though it is a militocratic setting where, you know, it is not military, people do not have, but you see that the elections actually have guns. You see security forces fully loaded as if they are going to war, and you are wondering what exactly is happening. So the Nigerian situation, and especially democracy, as far as I think and see, you know, is under a threat. We do not even know what is the fate of this so-called democracy that we are practicing. But I hope that the Plateau State will make a difference, even though we do not expect violence, but maybe we know the normal thing to expect, which is a dominance of the ruling party, like you mentioned. All
right, let's, before we join our guest, John Mandock, who is one of the candidates for Just South local government area, let's look at the issue of violence, especially what we saw in Rivers. It looks like it's, for all the elections we've seen in the local government access, it's just Rivers that got violent. Would you say we can put it down to Wike Fubara feud? That's why we've noticed that.
I totally agree, you know, and I don't think there is any better explanation to that than the feud between Wike and the governor, Sim Fubara, at the moment, because that feud, you know, has gone far too long. It has lasted far too long. Over a year now, they've been going back and forth, and you know what they are fighting for. I think that's the reason why the River State issue became violent as it is, because the stance of Wike has always been he built structures and he doesn't want his structures to be demolished by the incumbent governor. And the incumbent governor is saying, you have served your term, take a bow and just leave the surface of our politics and go and do your Abuja politics where it is. So yes, the feud between the both parties is a major player where, you know, the violence that broke out in River State is concerned. However, I also have other concerns. That is the issue of back and forth with the court orders. You know, prior to that election, we had court order, you know, conflicting each other, and it is disturbing, you know, for a democracy, because the judiciary is supposed to be the stabilizer, you know, of this democratic process. Because if you have the legislative, you have the executive, the judiciary is supposed to be the balancing act. But where the balancing act is not able to balance the situation anymore, then it means that we are in a very dangerous time, we are in a very precarious time. And I think is a reflection of the fact that the judiciary in itself does not work together. They don't work, because if a judge has actually passed, a competent judge from a competent jurisdiction, has passed a judgment over a particular matter, I do not think that another should go ahead and give a conflicting judgment. I mean, it makes even the justice system itself unfair. And if the justice system is unfair, what else can we term fair in our setting as a country? So we have a lot to do, especially the judiciary needs to purge itself. And we're hoping, just like the recently sworn in CJN, Madam Kekere Ekun mentioned, that she knows what to do and she's going to do them. I expect, actually, that that was supposed to be her litmus test. I mean, these local government elections were supposed to be her litmus test, where they will address the issue. Of course, we have also seen the Attorney General of the Federation mentions that they are going to address the issue of conflicting court judgments. But it doesn't seem as though it is going to come to an end soon. As long as the lawyers and the courts and the judges continue to engage in what I call political patronage, justice will be far away from the Nigerian system. Peace, order will be far away from a democratic setting, and that is not what we are looking to. We are looking toward building a just, equitable, and egalitarian society. And if we are going to achieve that, we need a very strong judicial system. So looking at the ongoing elections, I think it's a lesson for us. It's a reflection of the fact that we have a lot to do where fixing institutions is concerned. Fixing the judiciary is very important. And the act of patriotism, the spirit of wanting to build a strong and indivisible nation should be the driver, of the acts and the activities of the players in this field. Of course, because the issue of politics, everybody already knows, even though that is not the ideal thing, everybody already knows that politicians are who they are. But we can purge them, we can bring them back to order through structures, through institutions, if these institutions actually take their rightful place and deliver the duties for which they are assigned.
All right, while we are still wait to link up with Plateau State, let's just quickly look at the issue of the federal government calling for Nigerians to, seek formal approval before using the national anthem. Do you think that's the right way to go? And doesn't this also, further prove the fact that that step of changing or dropping the national anthem, which we were all used to, which seemed to have inspired Nigerians, was a wrong move, and it was taken for interest of a selected few?
Well, thank God. I think we spoke about this issue when, the national anthem was changed months ago. If you do remember, it's beginning to reflect, number one, the fact that the Nigerian people do not even know this song. And some have even sworn that they will not learn it. Now, why is this the issue? And I want to say, without mincing words, that that decision in the first place is what I call misplaced priority. This government is misplacing priority. Tony, as we speak this morning, a liter of PMS is 1,300 naira. Is that not an embarrassment? And is that not what the government of the day should rather focus upon? The issue of national anthem and who uses it and all whatnot, I mean, important, but we should learn to prioritize when there are so many things. Basic economics, that's how it explains it. Alternative costs is a forgone alternative. Opportunity cost, I beg your pardon. So this is the time to actually put all the issues of Nigeria on the table and choose which one is most important to address. As we speak, the government does not seem to want to address the real issues. The issues of economy, the issues of increasing poverty, the issues of unemployment, the issues of increasing petroleum prices. Look at it. How did we get here from less than 100 and 200 naira 15, 16 months ago to 1,300, and the NNPCL approving 1,200. Meaning that in the coming days we will be seeing petrol stations selling for as much as 1,005 and black markets even selling for 2,000 for a liter. That is the highest level of embarrassment for an oil-producing state that I have seen in history. And it has never happened before. A government that promised to renew the hope of Nigerians is rather dashing it. I mean, it's throwing the hopes of the Nigerian people people in the mud. Just while I was on my way here in the traffic in Wuse, I saw a certain young man, going about and shouting, decrying what this government is doing to inflict more pain on the Nigerian people, which is the reality. Much as it is not a political move anymore, except if you don't live in Nigeria, except you don't use the roads, except you don't go to the market to buy the commodities that we do have to buy. It has become a national concern, and it is shameful if it is only those who are associated with government. It is shameful if it is only those who have one connection with government or the other that can afford the basic necessities of life. It is a shame on that government, and I think that it is time that this government focuses on what matters, prioritizes on meeting the basic needs of the Nigerian people by cutting down on inflation and reducing the price of crude. It's embarrassing. How can we continue like this? Just recently, we saw Dangote start his refinery, and we have seen all the drama around that. Okay, I feel and I think that the government has come to a point where it has not realized that it is no longer time to play politics. 2027 is still far away. The Nigerian people who brought in President Tinubu have a certain expectation. The 8-point-something million people who brought President Tinubu into power have expectations. If he is not interested in meeting the expectation of the entire Nigerians, at least I am convinced that these 8 million people were not voting for President Tinubu so that the price of commodities can become skyrocketed the way it is right now. So what Nigerians expect is that he alleviates their poverty, is that he brings out their pain, is that he is not about making stories and making press conferences and say, I share your pain, I share your pain. When you don't share, if you say you do something, you walk your talk, Mr. President. I'm calling as a Nigerian because this thing is painful and Nigerians can feel it. If you move from point A to point B, it is hard, it is difficult. I think the accusations that we give the former administrations of the president being locked in Aso Villa, not knowing what happens, seems to be playing out now, because it seems to me that the president is totally disconnected from the reality of many Nigerians. How can we get to the point where a liter of crude is sold for 1,200 naira? Those are the issues that we should focus upon. The national anthem will not bring food to the table of many Nigerians, or no Nigerian, by the way. So yes, they want to regulate that. They should go ahead. It is the work of those institutions and the National Orientation Agency. By the way, the National Orientation Agency that has been sleeping for God knows how long. They are coming. How much have they even done in actually teaching the Nigerian people? Because this national anthem they are talking about now, had been dropped about 40 years ago. So anybody that is 40 years less, you don't even expect them to know this song at heart. So what effort has the National Orientation Agency put in place to ensure that the Nigerian people can actually learn the Nigerian anthem, the national anthem? What efforts have they put in place? So, Tony, we have gone beyond national anthem and saying people should take permission. And by the way, I still have other views though. And one of them is, why should I take permission to sing my national anthem or to use my national anthem? Am I not a citizen of the country? It's like taking permission to be citizen of the country. That's how I feel, honestly.
Do you think before, hopefully we're going to probably get a call from Plateau State to give us an update to get what's playing out there, as John Madong, one of the candidates, who will be joining us via a phone call to give us update as regards what's playing out. Do you think the NOA is playing to the gallery in order to be seen to be doing their job, or just to create awareness that there's a new sheriff in town? Because we've always said the NOA has been a sleeping giant and not really being part of the happenings in Nigeria. Rather, what they do is re-inform what they is informed. Do you think that's what the new man in Home of Affairs is just trying to do by going overboard, saying we have to take permission? Change the national anthem.
Larry Saunilo, I have disrespect for him. Maybe to some.
Did you say you have disrespect for him?
I have deep respect for him as a person.
Okay.
But you see, this issue of our national anthem, I feel totally that it is misplaced priority. I have said that, and like you said, it couldn't be truer that we are just trying to play to the gallery. I believe that there are more cogent national issues that Nigerians need to know about. That the NOA could have embarked upon. There are several projects. All
right, I think not to cut you short, but let's just get a quick live update coming from Plateau State. Let's look at John Madong. Thank you for joining us from Jos. How are the elections going on? Hello, good evening. Are you there? Hello, John. Are you there? Can you hear me? All right. I would like to know, just give us an update as regards how the elections are going on in Jos South, where you're one of the candidates for the Action Democratic Party. Give us an update as regards what's playing out in Plateau State.
Hello.
All right. What the audio? Get the audio sound to get a take on what's playing out. Let's quickly look at other issues in terms of age falsification by civil servants. That's the accusation coming from the Abia State, government. Is this a new thing?
I think that question is almost rhetoric. In a country where everything is false, I mean, I really want, many things are false, by the way. Maybe I take that back. Everything is not false about Nigeria, but so many things are false. So age falsification is just one of those things that you see in the civil service. And it didn't just start today. It has been from time past, from ages past. And for a country like Nigeria, it is a reflection of our realities. I mean, people just want to get into the system. People just want to take advantage. But more importantly, I think it goes to addressing our issue of data. How well the Nigerian people's data is actually being captured. Up until now, between the NIMC and getting a national identification number and integration of, people's identities with their BVN and all of that, it isn't something that has taken effect. And I've been wondering, how long and how difficult is it really to get involved with this thing?
Let's see if we can establish some audio. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening. All right, we're just getting some very dodgy. Hello, John. Madong, can you hear me? All right, it's so difficult getting the calls across. Just hoping we will be able to establish audio and, if possible, the Zoom link contact with Plateau State to give us update as regards how it's going there. But let's see if we can. Hello, John. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. One call.
All right. Let's get some updates. Can you give us an update as regards how the elections are going on in Plateau State?
Yeah, the election is characterized with a lot of anomalies. The election started very late, very late. Elections. There are polling units that could not even get election materials as at this moment. And most of the polling units are having shortage of ballot papers. The South Local Government has a voter register of over 307,000 voters, but from the reports collected from all agents from each of the 20 wards in the South Local Government, total ballots printed are just 150,000. So the question that is begging for answers now is, where are the other 150 and above ballot papers? And if you see the preparation of the election, things that matters most are the things that were not put into focus. The government of Plateau State decided to put security as a priority. They make sure they station security agents to intimidate voters. There are guns. You see guns. What would bring guns in an election? They bring security agents, station them close to voters, and they could not even make arrangement of the electoral materials. And as it is now, a lot of people are involved in vote buying, especially the ruling party, the PDP. They send in their people with a lot of money. They go, they intimidate voters with money, induce them into selling their votes. Even food in Plateau State, people are now voting because of food. They buy food for voters and
John, are you saying this because probably your party is not on the winning side? Have they started coalition of results already? And where did you get all these discrepancies?
Coalition of results is almost starting now because some polling have finished. There's a high rate of voter apathy. However, I cannot tell you point blank that my party is at a disadvantage. That is why I'm speaking what I'm speaking. What I'm saying is a general overview of what's happening with the Plateau LG elections. It's more or less a governor's election.
All right. In terms of INEC officials, how will you describe the attitude and how they have conducted themselves?
You see, the technical guys of the CLASEC are loyalists of the People's Democratic Party, people that were just sharing money to their supporters yesterday are the people we are now seeing on the stage serving as the electoral officers. Now, the governor promised a free and fair election, and they said they are going to use BVAS machine. They even said they've tested the voting using the machines at Shendam. Unfortunately, they now brought an issue of phones that there's an app they will install. The app at the end of the day could not even work. So what happens now? It's so unfortunate. There has to be fight. In some places, people get into fight with the plastic officials because most of them are the ruling parties' apology.
Okay, were you able to vote in Jos South local government area where you're seeking the chairmanship position?
I casted my vote.
Okay. And everything went smoothly?
In my polling unit, it started with fight because the people came very late. It started with fight. There was a fight between a faction of the People's Democratic Party with the most senior electoral officer because he's having a faction with one of the supporters of a different faction. So there was fight between a voter and the classic person officer. So
weren't the security persons there to stop this melee?
In fact, the securities were only stationed majorly on the roads. So places that are close to the roadsides will have securities to fear. But in a place like where I voted, we only had road safety guys. And, it's in our culture that if you are not in a khaki, in police or army uniform, people don't fear them. In fact, the fight that erupted in most of the polling units, securities will even step aside and just mind their business. They were even tired before election commences, and there was even no food for them. They were even hungry.
All right. The final question for you: do you see this the Plateau State election results being the same we've seen in other states where the ruling parties seem to dominate, a clean sweep at the end of the day?
Plateau won't be like other states. Their one will not. It will be a sweep, but not a clean sweep. Because from all indications, in fact, delaying in an election is an electoral malpractice. So the sign language has already indicated the governor has taken over everything.
All right. Thank you very much, John Madung. Thank you for joining us on the desk on Global Television. Enjoy the rest of the day, and I'll keep in touch with you to find out details later on. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
All right, that's how much time is going to take. Just 1 minute. How do you see this playing out? A quick one.
Well, I see the same thing that has been happening in every state. I see a clean sweep by the ruling party, the PDP in Jos in Plateau State, and I implore Nigerians and politicians to desist from having selective election. What we are having is actually not an election, in my honest opinion, because where the winner wins where the incumbent wins all the time is no election.
All right, that's how much time is going to take us. I want to say thank you, Olugbenga George, for joining me in the live studios, and so big thank you to John Madung, who is a candidate in the local government elections in Plateau State. My name is Anthony Momodu, saying thank you for joining me on the program, The Desk.